So what's going on, guys? It's Jamie, speakboxing. Make sure you guys subscribe to this channel before you click onto any of the videos. Also comment below in the comment section if you guys have any opinions on what I'm saying in any of the videos. Like always, it is appreciated if you guys could drop me a quick sub or two on my channel. So former unified light heavyweight champion Segey Kovalev says that he'll feel better mentally going into the ring on Saturday night when he fights for the vacant WBO light heavyweight title against Shabransky. And he feels like that the Ward fights haven't affected him mentally, that he's managed to go away and change some things, refresh his body and his mind, and he's more than ready now for Saturday night for his fight against Shabransky. And I'm going to quote him now talking about this. He says here, "I reloaded and recharged my body, my brain, mentally. I didn't break from the fight, I lost mentally, I just got more experience, I feel good. I respect him because he's a real fighter. He's very motivated right now and he's dangerous because he's never fought for the title." Talking about Shabransky, he also says here, "I lost my concentration before the fight against Chilemba. Concentration on my boxing career, I mean. I started to spend a lot of time travelling and missed a lot of workouts, changing time zones, a lot of flights, and everyone saw what type of life this brought to me. A bad fight with Chilemba and 2 losses with Andre Ward. Life teached me and life kicked my ass. God sent Ward to show me how I should continue my boxing career. I reloaded, I cleaned up my body, I cleaned up my mind, I'm very happy right now." So these are very interesting words from Segey Kovalev here, right? Because when he says that he had to clean up his body and clean up his mind, right, maybe Segey Kovalev just wasn't doing anything in terms of training. Like, he was obviously doing stuff, but you know what I mean, he wasn't taking it seriously. And people were coming out saying that Segey Kovalev was drinking in between training camps. John David Jackson has insinuated it as well. Virgil Hunter came out and said it, that the guy drinks vodka in between training camps, that he's going out all the times and stuff like that. So maybe Segey Kovalev was doing that, you know what I mean? He wasn't taking his boxing career seriously. He felt that he was the champion and that no one could really get to him, so it kind of really got to his head a little bit. But then Andre Ward came along, who is a very good fighter, and he kind of woke Segey Kovalev up. You know what I mean? Because them 2 losses to Segey Kovalev, we don't know how this has affected him mentally. Maybe it has woken him up. Like, I'm saying, like, maybe he'll come into this fight against Shabransky on Saturday night and he'll put on a very good performance like Kovalev of old. He'll go in there and just punish this guy and take him out with the huge power shots that he does have, Segey Kovalev. Because he's a very good boxer as well, Segey Kovalev. A lot of people just think he's a big guy who's just got a lot of power, but no, like, when he was boxing with Andre Ward, the fight was very competitive. The fights were very competitive, especially the first fight, because for the first 4, 5, 6 rounds of that fight, Segey Kovalev was in control. Well, for the first 4 or 5, and then after the 5th round, Andre Ward took over, in my opinion, and he was starting to nick rounds, and he was outlanding Segey Kovalev, not by much, by about 5 or 6 punches in a round, but that's what Andre Ward does. He gets on the inside, he's hitting you to the body, he's nicking rounds, and that's what Andre Ward does, and Segey Kovalev allowed him to do it, and that's what got him the decision. Like, it was a very close fight. Like, I had Andre Ward winning the fight by 2 rounds, but if Segey Kovalev would have got it by a round or 2, or the fight was a draw, then I couldn't have complained. Like, that's how close the fight was. The rounds were very close and competitive. But all these people who say it was a robbery, that Segey Kovalev won by 5 or 6 rounds, like, I can't agree with that, you know what I mean? I know a lot of the rounds were close and a lot of people score fights differently, but for me, I just didn't see Segey Kovalev winning that fight by 5 or 6 rounds. And some people had Andre Ward winning the fight by 4 or 5 rounds. I didn't see that either. Like, that fight was very close. It was 1 or 2 rounds in it, and Andre Ward was the one who got the nod, probably because he was in America. If it was in Russia, which is the home country of Segey Kovalev, then he probably would have got the nod, you know what I'm saying? But then the rematch happened, and that rematch was very competitive again for the first 4 or 5 rounds. Like, I had Kovalev ahead after the 5th round. Like, I just felt like Kovalev was nicking the rounds, was doing enough compared to Andre Ward, who wasn't really landing enough, where Segey Kovalev was the one who was landing the cleaner shots on Andre Ward with a jab and stuff like that, and was doing very well. So I had him up after the 5th round, but then the tide started to turn again. Andre Ward managed to slow the pace down in the fight and get to the pace that he wanted to, you know what I mean? And he was hitting Segey Kovalev to the body, some shots low as well, but that's what Andre Ward does. He's like a Bernard Hopkins type fight, you know what I mean? That's what a lot of people said about Andre Ward, that he was Bernard Hopkins 2.0, because he did a lot of underhand tactics and stuff like that Bernard Hopkins did over the years, and that really was getting to Sergey Kovalev in the fight. He was hitting him to the body, he was hitting him low, and he managed to hit him in the 8th round, and that was the turning point of that fight. Like, we all know what happened. He hit him with that big right hand, and it hurt him. And I think after that, Sergey Kovalev mentally checked out, because in his mind, he just felt that Andre Ward couldn't hurt him. Like, he just felt that Andre Ward just couldn't hurt him, that he just didn't have the power. He took all his shots in the first fight, said that Andre Ward hits like a girl. So when Andre Ward hit him with that big right hand, and that was a big right hand, that would have hurt most guys in the light heavyweight decision. That landed flush on Sergey Kovalev's chin, and he was really hurt after that. He was wobbled, he was all over the place. Andre Ward was hitting him to the body, he kind of wilted to the ropes, you know what I mean? The referee should have really gave him a count, but obviously we all know what happened. He stepped in and stopped the fight, which I felt was wrong, and I felt that Sergey Kovalev deserved the respect of getting a count, you know what I mean? He should have got a count after that, because he did wilt, so the referee should have just gave him a standing count and let him continue. But in my opinion, I think he would have went on and got stopped, because mentally he was checking out and he didn't really want to be in there anymore, because Andre Ward had hurt him. He was fatigued, and there was a lot of shit going on behind the scenes with Sergey Kovalev. He was falling out with his trainer. He wasn't taking fights seriously. Like, he even says as far back as the Chilemba fight, he lost his concentration. But I don't know, maybe it is mental, but maybe it could be down to styles as well. Maybe certain styles affect Sergey Kovalev's mentality and frustrate him and stuff like that, because Isaac Chilemba, he's levels behind Andre Ward in terms of talent and boxing IQ and all of that. Like, Isaac Chilemba is a very beatable fighter. He's lost 5 times in his career, and he's had a couple of draws and stuff as well. But when you fight Isaac, he's a very hard fighter to fight, you know what I mean? He's very awkward, and to get the win against him, you're going to have to be frustrated at times, you know what I mean? Because he will frustrate you. But I felt that Sergey Kovalev won most of the rounds against Isaac Chilemba. He did enough to win. He knocked him down in the 7th round and stuff like that. But I don't know, for a few rounds of that fight, Sergey Kovalev was being frustrated from the awkward style of Isaac Chilemba. So maybe it's a mix of both. Maybe because his mind wasn't there, and then he was fighting guys who were awkward. Maybe he just couldn't really cope with that situation at the time. But he's going against Shabransky on Saturday night. He hasn't really got an awkward style. He's a decent fighter. Shabransky's a very good contender in the light heavyweight division. He's got a decent pedigree from the amateurs and stuff like that. But I feel like if Sergey Kovalev's on his A game on Saturday night, then he'll be able to get the victory. I feel like he'll be able to stop Shabransky, because Shabransky has been stopped by Sullivan Barrera, and Sullivan Barrera isn't really the biggest puncher compared to somebody like Sergey Kovalev. So I feel like if Sergey Kovalev can start landing his power shots and look sharp and starts landing the hard jab on Shabransky, then I think he can break him down and then eventually stop him. Like, a performance you want to see from Sergey Kovalev is like the one in the Jean Pascal fights. Like, he just punished Jean Pascal in them fights. He was there, he was totally dominating him, and that's the kind of performances you want to see from Sergey Kovalev. The performances he put on against Bernard Hopkins and Nathan Cleverly, that's the kind of Sergey Kovalev you want to see. That's when you know Sergey Kovalev is at his best. Against Chilemba and Ward, he just didn't look right, did he? He just didn't look like he could handle the styles. But the light heavyweight division right now is hot in terms of talent. You've got Dmitry Bivol, who I rate very highly. I think this guy could probably be one of the most dangerous fighters in the light heavyweight division right now. And then you've got Artur Beterbiev, who recently picked up the IBF title, and he's gunning for Sergey Kovalev. It's an old rival of Sergey Kovalev. He beat Sergey Kovalev twice as an amateur, and he wants to unify with Sergey Kovalev if he picks up this WBO title this weekend. So that's a very dangerous fight. So I feel like if Sergey Kovalev wants to make noise in the light heavyweight division again and get all his belts back, then he's going to have to be sharp. You can't go in there drinking in between training camps and not living the life and letting his hype get to him, because these guys are very dangerous fighters, and if you go in there and you start making mistakes and you don't look as sharp, these guys are going to exploit it, and they're going to take you out and they're going to beat you. And Sergey Kovalev, in my opinion, can beat these guys. He can beat Artur Beterbiev and Dmitry Bivol, but only if he's 100% ready and only if he's taking it seriously, because a lot of people feel now that they can just go in there and just start hitting Sergey Kovalev to the body, and that will break down mentally. So it's very interesting to see how Sergey Kovalev gets on Saturday night. And if he makes a statement, he needs to really make a statement on Saturday night against Shabransky. If he takes him out in clinical fashion, then he can say, you know what, fuck all you lot who think I'm gone and all this shit, who think I'm broken. If you want to fight me, come to me. That's what Sergey Kovalev should be saying to these guys, because a lot of these guys in the light heavyweight division feel like they can beat him right now, because they've seen him look vulnerable. They've seen him lose to somebody like Andre Ward, who isn't a big light heavyweight, who isn't the biggest puncher, but in terms of boxing IQ, he's on another planet to certain fighters. But you know what I mean? I'm looking forward to this fight on Saturday night between Kovalev and Shabransky. And the light heavyweight division is just a hot division right now. Obviously, you've got Anthony Yarde in the UK. He's looking like he could be a decent talent in the future. But right now, this guy, obviously, he needs to have some step-up fights before we start mentioning Anthony Yarde in the same breaths of Sergey Kovalev. But you know what I mean? Light heavyweight division is very interesting right now in the UK and in America. So, yeah, I'll be interested to see how Kovalev gets on Saturday night. And if he gets the victory and picks up a world title again, then he's back in the mix. And he can start trying to hunt for his titles back and try and get into the position he was before the Andre Ward fight. But I feel like the light heavyweight division is just stacked with talent now. It's going to be a lot harder than it was before, because when he picked up the titles before, he beat Nathan Cleverly, who was a good fighter. Nathan Cleverly was a good fighter, but he was very limited in the Nathan Cleverly compared to Sergey Kovalev. And then he fought Hopkins. And yeah, Hopkins took him the distance, but he was battered in that fight. Hopkins was 50 years old, you know what I mean? Like, to win the titles the first time around, he beat a limited Nathan Cleverly and a 50-year-old Hopkins. But this time, if he wants to pick up world titles, he's going to have to beat Dmitry Bivol and Artur Beterbiev. And, you know what I mean? They're tough fights. They're really tough fights. So, yeah, the jury's still out on Sergey Kovalev. But, you know what I mean? He's still, in my opinion, a dangerous fighter, but only if he's sharp and taking his career seriously. So, yeah, comment below in the comment section. It's JM.